In this video, I'm going to explain about the I/O interface. So here, let us see what I/O means: input output. That means we know that in our computer system, whatever the device we are connected to the processor. That means CPU. So we have CPU box we are having. Suppose see pen drive we are connecting CPU, right? So some slot will be there. We are connecting there, and keyboard, mouse, printer, or earphones, headphones, whatever the device, all the devices we are connected to the processor. So whichever the devices we are connecting out from the outside to our processor, to our system, that device we call as a peripheral devices. That means peripheral devices are the devices which are connected to our system externally or from outside. For example, our pen drive, or we are inserting our CD or DVD, or we are connecting earphone, headphones, or the camera we are connecting. See, if you can see in some government offices while we are taking the thumb impression for Aadhaar card. So they are connecting camera also and even biometric also. That means all these are input or output devices. Whatever the devices we are connecting, either it should be an input device or output device. And all these devices, whichever we are connecting from the externally, that we call as a peripheral device. So that we call as an I/O, input output. So generally, which are the input devices? Keyboard, mouse, okay, the camera, all these are input devices, okay, or trackpad, okay, and then joystick, okay, trackball, all these are input devices. That means these are the devices through which user can give input to the system. Hence it is called input devices. That means we are having some device. Through the device user is giving data to what? Processor. Through what? By using what? Something called input devices. Input devices is used to give the data. For example, keyboard. Through keyboard we are typing. That means we are giving input to the processor through keyboard. That's what the input devices. Okay, all the input devices gives. Similarly, that means always CPU once CPU takes the data, what it will do, it doesn't keep as it is. It will do some operation on the data and produces the result, and the result gives back to the user through what? Through some output devices. So which are the output devices? The general output device is what? Monitor, printer, speaker, all these are projector, all these are what? Output devices. So that means output devices takes the data, input devices gives the data. Okay, so now in this topic we are discussing about how these input output devices are organized in such a way that communication between the user and the processor will be done efficiently, or in simple words we can say how the data will be transferred between the I/O devices and the CPU. So how input devices gives data to the processor, or how processor gives data to the output devices. So that we are going to discuss in this one. But it is not simple as is shown here. Simply user can give data to the processor using input device. Similarly, processor can give data to the user through output device. Not simple. Why? Because we know that already we discussed many times. So we are having one bus, right? We are having one bus. Okay, this is my bus. Okay, address bus, data bus, control bus, everything will be there here. Okay, this is my bus. Now to this bus, what we are connecting? We are connecting what? Our CPU processor. Okay, and we are connecting what? Our main memory RAM. And we are also connected. Let us take say keyboard. This is one input device. Similarly, let us take another input device called mouse. This is another input device. Let us take one output device called printer. Or you can take monitor, also not a problem. I have just taken a simple example. Now all these things are connected to the single bus structure that already we discussed in the bus structure, right? So now all these are communicating through bus. Okay, bus here I am not shown. Address bus, data bus, control bus, all three are there here. Now I told in the bus structure, so input devices gives the data, mouse gives the data, and printer takes the data. Now the thing is, it is not so easy as well, because communication is not going to happen between processor and these I/O devices. Because There are many reasons are there. These IO devices of different category and processor is a different category. Well, I'm telling you what the different category means. See, we know that our processor can execute how much? It can execute millions instructions per second. That means in 1 second, it can execute, processor can execute millions of instructions. That means 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 25 lakh, like that, lakhs, 10, 20, 30 lakhs of instructions in 1 second. That means this is that much fast, that much speed. Whether our IO devices have that much speed, for example, so keyboard, whether it is possible for us user to enter that many lakhs of instructions or lakhs of characters in 1 second? No way. In 1 second, hardly we can enter 20 to 30 characters. Where 20 to 30, where lakhs of instructions. So that is that similar way. Printer, let us take printer. So suppose, assume CPU is giving lakhs of data in 1 second. That much fast power printer can print? No. In 1 second can print 1 sheet or 2 sheet, or let us take 10 sheet. That's it. So our IO devices are slow. Okay, IO devices are slow. That means speed between the what? Speed between the processor. Speed between the processor and the IO devices are very huge. There is a huge variation in the speed. So our CPU is much faster and IO devices are nowhere to that. Okay, it's very slow IO devices. That means, so in order to balance this speed, we need some synchronization technique. That's the first reason. Second reason, see how, whether, let us say these two are input devices, right? Whether how keyboard works in the same way mouse will work? No way. Mouse will work in different way and this keyboard will operate in another way. Entirely different, even though both are input devices. Let us take one more input device, let us take trackpad. So the trackpad, how trackpad will work, how mouse will work, how keyboard will, all are different. Let us say scanner, there is one more input device. All these are different. Similarly, let us take printer, output device. How printer work and how our monitor, that is also output device. How monitor work, it is entirely different from how printer will works. That means the mode of operation of each IO devices is different, and as well as our mode of operation of process is also entirely different. So that means each one device will work in different operations. So the different operations. The third one, see whatever the processor is working, its data is in different form. So it is using some ASCII code. The format, it is uses the data in the form of word. We know that what is word? A group of bytes. So generally, if your system is 32-bit machine, one word is equal to 4 byte. Suppose our machine is 64-bit machine, one word is equal to 8 byte. That means it works in word format. Data format of our system is in the word format. Whereas this was character format. That means at a time we can press only one character. At a time only one click. Okay, so that means the data format used by our keyboard is in the form of decimal. That means whatever we enter in decimal format, that we need to convert into the word format or system ASCII. Okay, that means, so whatever the data code used by the keyboard or data code used by the mouse or data code used by the printer, see we have so many different types of printer, laser printer, inkjet printer, like the different types of printer. One printer will work differently from other. So data code and data formats of all these IO devices different from the data code or the data format of processor. So this is another difference. Data code and the data format is vary greatly between one IO device to another IO device. Then last one is, see, CPU is made up of electronic circuits and it accepts electrical signals like +5 volts, 0 volts to make 1 or 0. So it is made up of it works on electrical signals and it is made up of what? Electronic circuits. We know that CPU is nothing but contents of ALU and control unit. All is electronic circuit ICs. Whereas keyboard is an electromechanical and this mouse is an electromechanical, printer is an again electrical, again is a circuit. So then if it come to the magnetic disc, so something will, magnetic disc will act as an electromagnetical, and some devices are optical devices. So that means whatever the devices we are using, either these devices are what? Electromechanical or optical devices or electromagnetic devices. Whereas CPU is what? Electronic devices. That means the way they are made, the signals they are handling, that is also different. So because of these four, that is everything is different. So because of these reasons, it is not possible for IO devices directly interact with the processor, or processor is not able to directly interact with this one. Whatever it knows, doesn't know this one, how it will work, like that it doesn't work, or how it will work, it doesn't know how it works. So we need in between these IO devices and our processor, we need somebody in between, those who can do some translation from one type of operation to another type, or they need to convert from one data code to another data code or format, or we need to convert signal from one type to another, or you can call that some interface, that one is interface, or intermediary, or some translator, or some converter. That means we need some conversion between one format to another format, one code to another code, one signal to another code. So that will be done by the what? Interface. So IO interface in intermediary circuit, intermediary circuit, which will there between the processor and the every IO device. So every IO devices in between. So we are having one IO interface. So here I'm having what? Keyboard interface. So here I'm having keyboard interface. This is my mouse interface. Similarly, here I'm having printer interface. That means for every IO devices, we are having its own interface. So this interface will act as an what? Either you can call it as a converter or translator, whatever. So through this interface, it is possible to make communication happen between what? Processor and the IO devices. Okay, so that is what the IO interface. Okay, hope you people understood interface. But how this interfacing can be done? So this interfacing can be done in two ways. One is memory mapped IO and IO mapped IO. That I am going to explain in the next video. So I hope you people understood what you mean by peripheral device and what is the meaning of IO interface and why we need it. Okay, so if you have any questions, please write it in the comments. Thank you. Thanks for watching. So please